Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
You want to know what's going to make or break this entire offseason? It's not signing Juan Soto. It's not landing some big-name free agent starting pitcher. It's whether Dombrowski has the creativity and the guts to pull off a specific type of trade that could completely transform this roster overnight. I'm talking about a true blockbuster, the kind of multi-team, complicated deal that casual fans don't appreciate until it's done, and suddenly everything makes sense. There is a trade out there sitting right in front of us that addresses literally every weakness we have while maximizing our strengths. And I'm going to break down exactly what it is, why it works, and why we're probably too scared to actually do it. Here's the framework. We need to get creative with a 3-team deal that moves multiple pieces simultaneously and brings back exactly what we need: bullpen help, outfield defense, organizational depth, and financial flexibility. The bones of this deal involve us, the Rays, and the Brewers, 3 teams with completely different timelines and needs that could all benefit from swapping assets. We send Ranger Suárez and Alec Bohm to Milwaukee, who's trying to compete now and needs both rotation help and a right-handed bat. Milwaukee sends a package of controllable arms to Tampa. Tampa sends us multiple big league-ready relievers and a defensive outfielder. Everyone gets what they need. Everyone improves. And suddenly we've addressed 3 or 4 of our biggest weaknesses without spending a dime in free agency. Let me break down the specifics, because this is where it gets interesting. The Brewers are desperate for starting pitching after losing guys to free agency. They need rotation depth badly, and Suárez looks like an ace in their pitcher-friendly park where his lack of velocity won't be as exposed. They also need right-handed bats, and Bohm's contact-oriented approach plays perfectly at American Family Field, where home runs are hard to come by. So Milwaukee gives up, let's say, 2 of their surplus starting pitching prospects who are blocked anyway, maybe a guy like Jacob Misiorowski and another arm, plus they kick in some financial considerations or a lower-level prospect to balance things out. Tampa is always looking to acquire controllable talent they can develop and flip later. They're the ultimate middleman in these kinds of deals. They take Milwaukee's pitching prospects, maybe keep one for themselves, and they send us what we actually need: multiple major league ready relievers from their absurd bullpen depth. We're talking guys like Pete Fairbanks, if they're willing to move him, or Jason Adam, or whoever's in their endless supply of quality arms. Plus they send us one of their defensive-minded outfielders, maybe someone like Curtis Mead if they're willing to move him, or another athletic player who can actually cover ground. The Rays get young pitching to develop. We get immediate big league help. Milwaukee gets rotation upgrades. It's perfect. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds complicated. This sounds hard to pull off. And you're right, it is. 3-team trades are notoriously difficult because you need all 3 GMs to agree simultaneously, and you need the compensation to balance out across all parties. But that's exactly why these trades, when they work, are so impactful. You're solving multiple problems at once in ways that bilateral trades can't accomplish. You're creating value through complexity. And frankly, if Dombrowski can't figure out how to navigate a 3-team trade when the pieces fit this perfectly, what are we paying him for? The beauty of this specific deal is what it does for our roster construction. First, we move Suárez before the league fully figures out he's not as good as his first-half numbers suggested. We're selling high, or at least selling before the value completely craters. Second, we get Bohm off our roster and out of third base, where his defense has been killing us for years. Addition by subtraction on both fronts. Third, we bring in multiple quality relievers who can actually pitch in high-leverage situations, addressing the bullpen crisis that's haunted us for 3 straight Octobers. Fourth, we get a legitimate defensive outfielder who can play center or one of the corners competently, immediately improving our outfield defense, which has been bottom 5 in baseball. And we do all of this without spending any new money, which keeps our payroll flexibility intact for other moves. The financial piece is crucial and often overlooked in these discussions. Suárez is about to get expensive through arbitration. Bohm's going to cost us money too. By moving both of them, we clear probably $15 to $18 million in salary that we can reallocate toward other needs. Maybe we use that to actually sign a quality free agent reliever to supplement what we got from Tampa. Maybe we use it to extend one of our younger players. maybe we just pocket it and stay under a luxury tax threshold. The point is, we gain flexibility we don't currently have, and flexibility is valuable when your payroll is already maxed out. The Rays connection is what makes this whole thing possible. Tampa is uniquely positioned to facilitate these kinds of deals because they have depth everywhere and they're always willing to be aggressive. They're not emotionally attached to players. They trust their development system to replace anyone they trade, and they're always looking for opportunities to acquire the kinds of assets Milwaukee would be sending them. This is exactly the type of trade Tampa makes every single year, and we'd be smart to leverage their willingness to play middleman for our benefit. Milwaukee's motivation is obvious. They're trying to compete in a weak division. They need starting pitching desperately after losing Brandon Woodruff and others. They need right-handed bats to balance a lefty-heavy lineup. Suárez and Bohm give them both, and they're not giving up anything from their major league roster to get them. They're trading from organizational depth, which they have in pitching, to address immediate needs. For them, this is a no-brainer if they believe Suárez is the pitcher he looked like in the first half of last season, which they probably do because Milwaukee's coaching staff has a track record of maximizing pitchers. The specific relievers we target from Tampa matter a lot. We don't want project arms or guys with question marks. We want proven commodities who've pitched in high-leverage situations and succeeded. Pete Fairbanks would be the dream, a legitimate closer quality arm who can handle the ninth inning pressure. Jason Adam would be fantastic as a setup man. Even someone like Colin Potch or one of their other lefty specialists would be valuable. The point is, Tampa has so much bullpen depth that they can afford to move 2 or 3 arms and still have a top 10 bullpen. For us, adding 2 or 3 quality relievers in one trade is franchise-altering when our current bullpen is as bad as it is. The outfield piece is maybe the most underrated part of this deal. Our outfield defense is a disaster. Castellanos can't move. Schwarber is limited. Marsh is decent but injury-prone. We need another athletic, defensively minded player who can cover ground and not turn routine plays into adventures. Tampa always has these types of players because they prioritize speed and defense in their player development. Getting one of those guys, even if he's not a star offensively, would immediately improve our run prevention, which matters just as much as run creation in close playoff games. Here's why this trade probably won't happen, even though it should. It requires too much work. It requires Dombrowski to get on the phone with 2 other GMs and coordinate something complex. It requires patience to navigate the back and forth of a 3-team negotiation. It requires creativity to balance the compensation across multiple teams. And frankly, it requires admitting that our current roster construction isn't working and needs significant changes. That kind of humility and effort doesn't seem to be Dombrowski's style. He'd rather make one big splash signing that gets headlines than do the hard work of putting together a complicated trade that actually makes us better. The other obstacle is emotional attachment. The front office still thinks Suárez is a quality mid-rotation starter and Bohm is an above-average third baseman. They're wrong on both counts, but they believe it, which means they'd need to be convinced that trading both in the same deal is the right move. That requires honest self-assessment of our current roster, and I'm not sure this organization is capable of that level of introspection. We keep making excuses for our flaws instead of addressing them directly, and this trade would require acknowledging that both Suárez and Bohm are expendable pieces, not core players. The urgency should be obvious. Our window is closing fast. Every year we delay making significant changes is another year closer to this whole thing falling apart. We don't have time to hope Suárez figures it out or Bohm improves defensively. We need to act now while these players still have value, while we can still get significant returns. This 3-team framework is sitting right there, waiting for someone with vision to execute it. The Rays and Brewers would both jump at deals structured like this. All it takes is Dombrowski picking up the phone and doing the work. The alternative is what we've been doing, making minor moves around the edges, hoping things improve organically, running it back with basically the same roster and expecting different results. That's not working. That's not going to work. We need bold action, creative solutions, and willingness to make the kinds of complicated deals that actually move the needle. This three-team trade with Tampa and Milwaukee is exactly that. It's the secret package that could fix multiple problems at once, give us the pieces we need to actually compete for a championship, and set us up for sustainable success instead of short-term mediocrity. The question is whether anyone in our front office has the vision and courage to make it happen. Based on recent history, I'm not optimistic, but this is what needs to be done, whether we do it or not.